There's more equalizing to be done, and Denzel Washington is just the guy to do it. In The Equalizer 3. Best part of this movie is when Denzel said, "It's equalizing time." And then he equalized.
That was pretty great. He said, actually, I might threequalize this time. Everyone's done that joke, but no one's done it yet on this podcast, so I'm the first to do it.
I had not heard it, so it's new to me. It's very
Yes.
exciting. Hey, so Tim Grierson's here with witty, insightful film criticism like that. This is what you get when you join us here at Breakfast All Day. Tim is with Screen International, and he is a delight to help out and fill in from time to time. Thank you, Tim. If you've not subscribed yet, please do, because we have awesome friends like Tim who come and hang out. We've got all the big fall stuff coming. I keep seeing reports in from Venice and Telluride about all the cool things that I can't wait to see. So stick with us, because we will have reviews of all of that. But first, the threequalizer. Tim, what's it about?
9 seconds. That's what I'll give you to decide your fate.
So it once again stars Denzel Washington and is directed by Antoine Fuqua again. And when we meet his character, I wonder how many people actually think his name is the Equalizer. His name is Robert McCall.
Hello, I equalize. I'm the equalizer.
Yeah, that's what it says on his business card. But he's like, please, call me Robert. So Robert McCall is in Italy at the beginning of the movie. And is he doing his equalizing stuff? He absolutely is. I don't want to spoil the things, because I think actually one of the fun things about the Equalizer 3 is it's going to have a lot of action. It's going to be really violent. But kind of like jokes and comedies, I don't want to describe it in too much detail, because I want you just to see it. But there is basically a prologue, an introduction to what Robert McCall is up to in Italy. He does a lot of equalizing in very graphic fashion, but then he gets shot. He's surprised and wasn't expecting to get shot, and he is nursed back to health and basically recuperates in the small Sicilian village. And while he is recuperating, what he discovers is that the local mafia is encroaching on this small town, and they want to do mafia bad things to the community. As you may remember, Robert McCall is essentially retired, but he will still do his equalizing thing if he feels like he needs to. And so,
a side hustle.
Yeah, it's like, I'd actually forgotten that he drove an Uber in the first movie.
There's a Lyft, I think.
Oh, an Uber or Lyft.
Yeah,
Something like that. We're nondescript on this podcast, but he does these side things, and he basically starts to really like this small Italian community that he's a part of, and feels like maybe this is what I should do with my life. But when the mafia comes in and they start harassing the people that he's come to care about, he is going to do his equalizing thing. Christy, I don't know what your progression is with the Equalizer movies. I liked the first one. I thought the first one was fun because I really enjoyed Denzel Washington doing this sort of kind of kick-ass action thing. And of course, he's done that before these movies. But I loved the sort of relentlessness of the first movie. And I also really loved, and they don't do as much in this movie, unfortunately, you saw Denzel Washington's character think through what he was going to do in terms of equalizing. He'd be in a room with bad guys, and he'd be like, do this, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And then he would do the things, kind of like the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. And I actually thought he was really, really fun in the first one. I didn't think the second one was as smart or as well done. I think the third one is even less smart and well done. There's still stuff I like. There's still stuff I liked in this one, but I was kind of disappointed. I just feel like he's great, and I love Denzel Washington in these. But one of the things I mentioned in the plot description, which was maybe I should settle down in this Italian community. Maybe I need to think back on my life. I found that stuff less compelling, even though Denzel Washington is really good doing that stuff. I was like, I was very much lizard brain with this film and be like, can you have more disgusting shootouts and violent things happen? Because I actually think that's when the movie's at its best. I think when the movie aspires for more, it's not good at that. It should just be dumb, shoot stuff. Because I think that's what's good about this movie.
I totally disagree. Like, for the first time, I think, ever, you and I are usually on the same page about a lot of things. I found this was like surprisingly poignant and resonant for a third film in a dumb action series, right? I mean, Denzel, of course, brings a heft to it. He can't help but I found the whole idea of him like looking back at his life and the damage he had done and the career that he'd had and finding a genuine home with people, like late in life when he did not expect it, I found it to be quite surprisingly moving. Like it's really slow for a while. It really takes its time to get going, like too slow. Like I found it totally dragged. But once he finds a rhythm in this place and with these people, he blossoms. And like that totally radiant, charming, like that flash of a smile, that you want from Denzel is still there.
Yeah.
He's got secrets. He's dangerous, but now there's like an emotional investment in the equalizing that I don't know that we necessarily had seen before. I mean, he always has this code where he sees a wrong and he has to right it, if he's working at Home Depot or driving an Uber.
Right.
But here I feel like there's a deeper attachment to his calling, and that makes this better than I expected. It also looks fantastic because Robert Richardson shot it.
Yes. Now, I'm curious, where were you on the first two Equalizers? How did
so
you
the
feel
first
about that?
one, I'm realizing I don't think I even saw the second one. The first one I thought was okay, and a lot of that was the charm of, like, as you said, him sizing up the room, and then you watch him execute all that. I think I didn't see the second one. I look back at all What the Flicks. I'm like, why didn't we review it? I don't know why we didn't, but I did not see it. But I can assume that he equalizes in that one.
He did. He did. He did. I didn't spoil that.
I was actually kind of surprised that this is better than a Labor Day weekend third movie in a series should be. I don't think I realized that Robert Richardson was the DP until the credits, and I was like, okay, now this makes sense, because from the very beginning, from that opening that you're referring to in Italy at the winery, like there's a shot where he's backlit and like the top of his head is gleaming, and there's like a gun that's also gleaming, and it just looks great. There's a shot like that goes inside of a bell, like upside down inside of a bell, and then comes through a little like cobblestone moonlit walkway.
The movie looks great, and this is the second movie that Fuqua has done with Robert Richardson.
Yeah.
They did Emancipation together before this, and the gore, and I mean this sincerely, it actually looks great. Like, it's actually like disgusting and violent in a way that you sort of want from a movie like this. I think for me, the poignancy was undercut by just some of the dumbness around it. I think Washington totally sells it. These movies have had the same screenwriter. Richard Wenk has written all three of them. So there is a consistency in terms of the people making these movies, and of course, Denzel Washington in these movies. So there's sort of like I think a through line in them. It's not that Washington can't play a guy who is looking back on his life and regretting the choices that he's made, but I found the stuff around that to be just not very smart. Like, I think the bad guys are kind of dumb in this movie, and while I don't think the movie is too stereotypical, there is sort of like, hey, Italy, it's got these types of things. You know how Italy, like, they just sell hats everywhere. Like, they have like a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, it never gets to the stereotypes of like, it's a me, a Mario. It's never that offensive, but there is sort of a simplification of that stuff that just seemed kind of silly. The way it looks, I think, is actually better than the story it's telling, because the look of it feels not noirish, but there's sort of a westerny, like there's almost like a Clint Eastwood vibe a little bit to this movie. You kind of feel that.
There's a drama in the contrast of like the lighting and the shadows. It's very stark and beautiful.
Yeah. And while the bad guys are dumb, I cannot deny that there's a real pleasure in when Denzel Washington is in a room and basically says like, I'm going to give you like a minute, and then I'm going to start equalizing. And watching him equalize is great. It's really like he can do that in such a commanding way that you want to see him like kill a bunch of bad guys, because they're dumb anyway. And I actually didn't even realize this when I saw it, but Dakota Fanning plays this like rookie CIA agent that helps him. I didn't even make the Man on Fire connection when obviously this is not playing the same characters, obviously, but they're back together in a movie
20 years later. Yeah.
And I just found their relationship just sort of okay. I wish he'd also said, I have equalized a lot in my life, but at what cost has my equalizing brought to other people? Maybe I should question the equalizing I have done. And then, Dakota Fanning's character could say, maybe the equalizing we did was the friends we made. along the way.
So many opportunities for all these gems here. What is your number then?
I gave it a 5.0.
Okay. I'll say like 6.4. I think it's better than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not like a rave, but yeah, you liked it though. You thought it was good. Yeah,
better than you did. Yeah. Equalizer 3 is in theaters this weekend. You're welcome to see it or ignore it. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.